Hello, Orbis here, and welcome to another edition of Ranking Every Track on an Album. And today I'm going to be doing Amnesiac by Radiohead. Obviously last time I did Kid A, and Amnesiac I think is a very interesting album. It's not my favourite, but it's one of the most interesting to talk about and to kind of pick apart. Amnesiac is probably the most polarising Radiohead album. Yeah, King of Limbs is also pretty polarising, but we'll talk about that album when we come to it. I think Amnesiac's the most polarising just because you have people that say it's 10 out of 10 album, one of the best albums of all time. I think on Radio Music it has a really high rating, but a lot of Radiohead fans say it's one of the worst Radiohead albums. As for me, I think it's, if we're comparing it to the whole of Radiohead's discography, it's maybe somewhere in the middle. I don't rate it too highly, but I think it has a lot of really good songs on it, and even the songs that aren't as good, I think they're all interesting. Kid A was a very experimental album, but Amnesiac's probably even more experimental because it's like the songs that were too weird to make it onto Kid A. Because obviously with Amnesiac it's basically it's made up of songs that were recorded in the sessions for Kid A but didn't make it onto the album, which makes it sound like it is a collection of B-sides or whatever, collection of outtakes. But it is an album in its own, it is an album in its own right, and it is worth listening to. Some people write it off as just Kid A B-sides, but it's got some really good songs on it, and it's a cool album. So let's just get started with the ranking. So at the bottom I put Hunting Bears, just because it's kind of pointless. It's like an instrumental track. It's very simple. It's like 2 minutes long. It's not bad, I guess, but you just kind of forget it happened. Next up I've put Polk/Pull Revolving Doors, which I consider to be the third in a trilogy. First one being Fitter Happier, the second one being Kid A, this being the third one. A trilogy of weird robot voices songs. And just like those songs, it's like, I don't mind it personally. A lot of people hate it, but I don't mind it. It's weird and not a track that I am too fond of, but it's okay. Next up I put You and Whose Army, which in my opinion is a little bit overrated. It's okay, like it's decent, but there are much better songs on the album. It's just, hot take. I think it's a little overrated. Next up is Dollars and Cents, which is pretty good. Not really a highlight of the album, but I think it's pretty good. Maybe I think that one might be a bit underrated actually. And next up I put Morning Bell /Amnesiac. Now the Morning Bell and Kid A I love, and it's one of my favourite tracks on that album. But with this version I just don't really understand the point of it, really. I don't really see why they had to do it again. And I don't think it's, I don't know, I don't really like this version very much, and even if it was a good version, it's like, why do the same song again? I don't really get it personally. I'm kind of tempted to rank it lower because I just think it's really pointless, but I do love Morning Bell, so I guess it has to rank high-ish. Anyway, next up is Life in a Glass House, the closer, which is a very interesting track just because it's like unlike any other Radiohead song. It's how do I even describe it? It's got like this brass layer, which but not in like the national anthem way. I don't know, it's very strange, very unique. So I think it's an interesting song, just not one of my favourites, I suppose. And then next up I've put The Opener, Packed Like Sardines, and I think this is a fantastic track. It's odd, but it balances being odd and being really enjoyable. So next up I've put Like Spinning Plates, which now that I'm actually recalling the video, I think I'd probably put Like Spinning Plates just below Packed Like Sardines. But yeah, Like Spinning Plates I think is an amazing track and very underrated. I think it's awesome. The backwards sounds. I'm a sucker for backwards being used in a song. So yeah, and I also really like the version that was released on Kid Amnesia, which is like an early version where it's just piano and vocals, none of the backwards stuff. And yeah, the foundation of the song is already really good, but I think the backwardsness adds an interesting aspect to the song. I think it's great. So we are now in the top 3, and to be honest, coming up with the top 3 was pretty easy. At number 3 I put Knives Out, which is wonderful, very melancholy, and I think it's a Radiohead classic in my opinion. And at number 2 I put I Might Be Wrong, which is probably the most high energy song on the album. It's got an amazing riff, and it's always been one of my favourite Radiohead tracks. And shock horror at number 1 I put Pyramid Song, which is obviously one of the most iconic Radiohead songs. I can't really do justice to the song. It's ethereal, beautiful. I think it's a masterpiece. I think this is easily one of the best Radiohead songs, one of the best songs ever written, to be honest. So yeah, overall Amnesiac's pretty mixed, I would say, but I think it's a worthy album in Radiohead's discography. So there you go. That was my ranking of every track on Amnesiac by Radiohead. Let me know your thoughts on my ranking, and let me know what your ranking is. So leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.